Hello, welcome back to Suburban Hunt 365. I'm DJ, and we are continuing on with our muzzleloader series. Last week you saw the total results of all the pellets that we had, and what pellets and what projectiles, and how they averaged out, to give you a good basis on what you should expect. Again, every rifle is slightly different. But we're continuing on today, and I'm excited to have been able to shoot the Blackhorn 209 loose powder. Alright. Just so you guys know, if you are using a CVA inline muzzleloader, there are two different plugs that come with it. I'm going to come a little bit closer here. This is the standard plug for pellets in a CVA inline 209. This is the black powder. You can see that hole's a lot deeper inside there. Still has the same 209 on both sides, but you can see that there is this big difference between the pellets and the loose powder. So if you are using loose powders and you don't have this, I don't know what results it might fire. It may not, I don't know. I just know that CVA recommends that if you're going to use loose powder, go ahead and get this. I will leave a link below for this. Alright, getting right into it, we're going to be using the same 6 projectiles that we've been using. So just to recap real quick, Powerball 245 grain coppers, power belt, or belt rather, 250 grain arrow lights, 295 grain coppers by power belt, the power belt ELRs 330 grain, and the Federal Borlocks 270 grain, and finally the Hornady bore drivers 290 grain. The same 6 that we've been using. So as I stated before, we are going to be using the Blackhorn 209. So what I actually been doing is, rather than use volume like most muzzleloaders usually do, because with the actual black powders, the volume measure and your scale weight are the same, because when black powder came out, they developed that to match the weight. That way the volume was to the weight. I have been using a Hornady pocket scale that has a tray with it. Now I will tell you this, I was doing this in the range. These things are very sensitive, as they should be. So if you're at the range on a windy day or even a somewhat breezy day, go inside your truck, get out of the wind, otherwise you will not get a consistent load. I did do that with 3 of the rounds that I had, and they were all over the place, and I realized I was not getting consistent loads because I was not being able to get a consistent weight, because as that wind blows, it moves that pan around. So make sure that you're out of the wind and that you have a stable readout on whatever scale you're using. So with the 209, Blackhorn 209, we're actually going to be copying one of the loads from I Love Muzzleloading YouTube channel. Check him out if you haven't. Great guy. He does do some of the inline stuff. He uses a lot of flintlock stuff. But he used a 80 grain by weight in one of his videos, so I knew that was a safe place to start. Now I'm also going to put up on your screen the Blackhorn 209 load data, and as you can see from the load data, 84 grains is the max for any of the loads listed below. So it tells me that we're kind of starting out at the top of it. And one of the subscribers that I was commenting with not too long ago mentioned the same thing. He's noticed that with his muzzleloader, they tend to work with the heavier loads. And if you saw last week's video, it's true. The 150 grains really did take the lead. But go check that video out if you haven't. But without further ado, let's get into what the actual shots did. First up, 245 grain coppers. Okay, not terrible. That group came in at 2 inches, or 2 5/8 of an inch is where that group came in. But what I do like seeing so far is that there's not a one-off. It seems like it's in a pretty good round group, which I like seeing. I would like that tighter, but not a bad way to start off. Let's go ahead and let's move up to 250 grain arrow lights. Alright, well how about that? That group also came in at 2 5/8 of an inch. And like I mentioned before, I'm liking the symmetrical group of it. There's not a flyer off here or a flyer off there. So I'm really liking how that's coming into a pattern. So far we've got a tie. Let's move on to 295 grain coppers. Alright, well, those first two shots look really good, and then we had that flyer there at the end. I'm not gonna lie, that could have been me, but as it stands, that's what we've got. So I apologize if that screwed that up, but I felt like it was a decent shot and it went low and left. 4 1/4 because of that left hand flyer is what that group came in at. Not an awesome group, but with those first two shots and then that flyer, take from it what you will. So moving on, let's go ahead and let's do the 330 grain ELRs. Alright, that one actually is closer. It is a 2 1/4 inch group. And again, we're right back to the really nice round groups that I like seeing. Again, the 295 had that one off, but let's continue. I mean, I really do like that one. So far, the ELRs are winning this at 2 1/4. So, getting away from the power belts, let's see if the Federal bore lock can do any better. Alright, there again, not a very tight group, but it is a decent group. This one came in at 3 3/8 of an inch. So, not enough to win today. Federal bore locks hadn't really won a whole lot of these, but let's move on. Hornady bore drivers, 290 grain. Nice. Hornady putting on a show, coming in at 1 7/8 of an inch. Those first two were right on top of each other, and then the other one just kind of kicked a little bit high. But man, 1 7/8 of an inch. That is hands down going to take today's challenge with the Blackhorn 209 80 grain by weight. Alright, so I was expecting a little bit tighter groups, but honestly that has to do with the load in my muzzleloader. And as a reloader in general, I know that you have to do a ladder type thing to figure out what the gun likes. So I'm going to go ahead and put this graph back up here. On the low end you have 56 grains by weight, and on the top you have 84 grains by weight, and then of course there in the middle we have 70 grains. So 56, 70, and 84. So we're going to take those three, go ahead and put them together, shoot the same projectile, 3 different groups, and see how our groups open or close. And once you find out, what you're going to find out is where the harmonics in that gun like your powder charge to be to get those bullets consistently down range. But that'll be in a separate video. So in today's video, the Hornady bore driver takes the win for the Blackhorn 209. Now, what I will tell you that sets Blackhorn 209 apart, and some of you guys may know this already, I have never in my life had an easier time cleaning a muzzleloader. So, real quick, let me show you what that looks like. Alright guys, I just want to show you how clean this Blackhorn 209 shoots. I'm going to do this in one take so that way there's no confusion. This is a clean bore. Right? So, again, we have our loose powder plug. Take our tool, tighten that up as much as we can. Alright. 80 grains of Blackhorn 209. We're going to be using the Federal bore lock for this one. Set that to the side. Primer. Alright guys, this actually ended up being a test for the Chadite powders, or primer. This ended up being a test for the Chadite primer, the Blackhorn 209. And it does not have what it takes to set off Blackhorn 209. I don't know, let's see if I can get this over here. You can see there's literally powder sitting in the barrel. So let's see here. So yeah, Chadite. Didn't set off the 209 properly. Now, just to double check that, we're going to do that one more time. Alright, I had to break the video because I went and set up 2 more rounds of the Blackhorn 209. One, we're going to follow up with the Chadite 209 primers, and then lastly, we're going to go back to using the CCIs. I apologize, I was just going to use that just to fire off the rounds. I had heard that some primers don't properly set off Blackhorn 209, but I never believed it to that scale. That was definitely what I would consider a squib load, and I'm just glad that the projectile actually made it out of the barrel, so I didn't have to go and actually remove it with the ramrod. So we're going to put it back together. Same thing, this is a clean barrel. If I can get this to show up on the camera, there it is. So clean barrel. Another 80 grains of Blackhorn 209. Going to be using the exact same Federal bore locks. And again, we are using the Chadites. Very interesting. You guys saw that first one not set off, so I'm really curious on what happened the first time. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and let's load this back up again. Yeah, I don't know what happened with that first one, guys, but we shot 2.5 loads through there. So let's go ahead. That was very weird indeed. This is twice fired. If I can get some light to show here. Ooh, the smoke. Alright, let's see if we can get that to show up. Alright, you can see how much crap and crud is all up on that barrel. So, taking a basic, where'd it go? Basic 50 cal bore snake. One time. And look at that. Look how much cleaner that is. In one swipe, I've got a clean barrel. That's Blackhorn 209. It is just that easy, guys. I was absolutely amazed, which in my opinion has a lot to do with how those groups landed, because they were more symmetrical. There wasn't as much residue and stuff in the barrel. So hats off to Blackhorn 209 for that. So if you guys have stuck with us this far, I really do appreciate you guys hanging with us. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and then comment down below and let us know what you guys think. If you have a different load you want me to try, by all means, let me know. I'll be more than willing to get my hands on whatever it is and give it a shot. Now, because of YouTube's partner program changes, we are now able to accept super thanks. And the way that works, if you look below your screen, you'll actually see a heart down there where you can actually donate to this channel. Please don't feel obligated to. We love doing what we're going to do, and we're going to continue doing what we're doing. But if you're so inclined, hit that, throw a donation to the channel. We definitely appreciate you, and I promise you, I give you my word, every single cent is going to go back into the materials that we use for these videos. Again, I really do appreciate you guys. I'm DJ with Suburban Hunt 365. We'll catch you on the next one.